There is a version of success that most people understand: a bigger apartment, a nicer neighborhood, a car worth more than a year's salary. And then, there is the kind of success that exists so far beyond that threshold that it stops being relatable and starts being something else entirely. Something closer to a parallel world. Football's elite do not simply live well. They live in environments so carefully constructed, so deliberately designed around comfort, control, and personal meaning, that the word home barely covers what they have built. From private islands off the Saudi coast to basement recovery centers that rival professional football clubs. This is what life looks like when you earn at the very top of the most watched sport on the planet. The story begins, as it often does, with Cristiano Ronaldo, because he did not just buy a property. He bought an entirely different concept of where a person can live. Instead of adding another mansion to a portfolio, Ronaldo acquired two private island villas at Nujuma, an ultra-exclusive Ritz-Carlton reserve located off the western coast of Saudi Arabia. Access requires either a chartered boat or a seaplane, which immediately establishes the kind of privacy being discussed here. The island holds just 19 villas in total, each one sitting directly on white sand and surrounded by shallow, crystal clear water. Ronaldo took two: a 3-bedroom villa for family stays and a 2-bedroom for quieter, more private time. Inside, the design strips away everything theatrical and replaces it with natural textures, soft tones, and open layouts where the ocean is never out of sight. There are no crowds, no traffic, and no noise. There are only morning swims, unhurried breakfasts, and evenings watching the light change over the sea. For a man whose entire public life is performance, this is where the performance stops. Neymar's approach could not be more different. His Rio de Janeiro mansion, set inside a gated community, often compared to Brazil's answer to Beverly Hills, is not a retreat from the world. It is a celebration of it. Costing around $10 million, the property reads more like a private resort than a residential address. Outside, there is a tennis court, a beach volleyball court, and a pool that belongs in a 5-star hotel catalog. But the details that make it genuinely extraordinary are the helicopter landing pad built directly into the property and the private dock, capable of housing an $8 million yacht in what is essentially his backyard. The house even served as a filming location for The Expendables, which, in a strange way, is the most accurate description of its scale that exists. The gym inside is large enough for multiple players to train simultaneously, turning the entire estate into a hybrid between a luxury villa and a professional training base. Where Ronaldo's island is about retreat, Neymar's mansion is about arrival. David Beckham operates at yet another register because one property was never going to be enough. His $28 million penthouse in Miami sits almost 700 feet in the air, wrapping floor-to-ceiling windows around 10,000 square feet of furnished space. For pools, including one indoors on the 61st floor, a 2-story private gym, a cinema, and a rooftop helipad complete the picture. Then there's his $33 million Los Angeles mansion, equipped with an elevator, a library, and a recording studio, hidden behind palm trees while Rolls-Royces and Bentleys sit in the driveway. And then, surpassing both, an $80 million waterfront property with a private yacht dock, an infinity pool, rooftop lounges, and a floating staircase inside bathrooms designed to feel open to the sky. What makes Beckham's collection remarkable is not any single property, but the consistency of the level. Every home feels like the kind of place that would embarrass a 5-star hotel. Lionel, Messi's Barcelona estate, tells a quieter story, but one that reveals just as much about the man. The main property is worth around $9 million, but the number that says everything is the $20 million he reportedly spent buying neighboring properties simply to guarantee silence and privacy around him. Inside, there is an entire floor dedicated to his personal gym, a wall honoring Muhammad Ali as a permanent source of motivation, and a full indoor basketball court, something almost no footballer anywhere in the world has built into their home. Outside, a full-sized football pitch means he can train whenever he needs to without ever leaving the property. Everything about the space is designed to keep him contained within an environment he completely controls. It is not a showpiece. It is a system. Raheem Sterling built something that hits differently. His home is obsessive about detail in the places most people would never think to look. Sterling's silver finishes and diamond-covered surfaces in the bathroom transform the mundane into a statement. A home cinema with a starlit ceiling provides the kind of downtime experience that makes a standard screen feel inadequate. His garage rounds out a property that, at one point, cost him approximately $190,000 per week in rent. A number so extreme that even against the backdrop of professional football's salaries, it forces a pause. Karim Benzema went in the opposite direction aesthetically, choosing scale over ornamentation. His Spanish estate is built around space in the most deliberate way possible. An Olympic-sized swimming pool sets the tone outside. Inside, massive walk-in closets, wall-integrated fireplaces, and a private gym positioned directly beside a jacuzzi create an environment where training and recovery exist side by side without friction. Nothing is cramped. Nothing feels restrained. The whole property has been described as among the finest homes in Spain and at around $5 million. It delivers that reputation through sheer expanse rather than expensive add-ons. Kylian Mbappé made a choice that tells you everything about who he is. Rather than isolating himself behind gates on the outskirts of a city, he spent $7 million on a Paris apartment that places him directly in the center of everything. The interior is polished and deliberately minimal in the way that luxury is when it trusts itself. But the detail that defines the whole space is simpler than any material or finish. From his bedroom window, Mbappé can see the Eiffel Tower. Some people spend their lives working toward a view. He simply chose it. Wayne Rooney chose a completely different philosophy. His $20 million estate is the kind of place that feels like it was designed for a life rather than a lifestyle. A custom-built football pitch, a full man cave with a private bar, a golf simulator, a games room, a cinema, and a carbon fiber bathtub all exist inside a property, sitting on land large enough to feel like a private countryside. It is a home built for someone who has no interest in leaving. And everything in it reflects that intention. Harry Kane's London property, worth around $13 million, earns its place through how thoughtfully every single element is considered. A skylight entrance, a marble fireplace opening onto a golf course garden, a full lap pool, sauna, steam room, and professional-grade gym all sit inside 16,700 square feet, spread across 4 floors. Upstairs, 6 bedrooms are each designed like individual suites. A boutique walk-in wardrobe in the master, mini-stadium reading areas in the children's rooms. Downstairs, a cinema, games room, and entertainment space complete a home that never wastes a single square foot. Marcus Rashford's house is the most personal on the list. A dedicated trophy and memorabilia room documents his career from under-16 England caps to senior appearances, each personalized per game. The boots from his first FA Cup wins sit alongside that timeline, turning an entire section of his home into something closer to a museum of his own journey. The gym is built specifically for what he needs rather than what looks impressive. His lounge was designed largely by his mother. The kitchen is stocked for performance rather than display. Of all the properties in this world, his is the one that most honestly reflects the person living in it. Sadio Mane built a performance center inside a residential address. His basement is the heart of the property, housing cryotherapy equipment, game-ready systems, ice baths, saunas, steam rooms, and a hot pool. The kind of recovery infrastructure that professional clubs invest millions into. He uses it immediately after matches. Upstairs, a cinema room, a functioning kitchen, and a private prayer room add layers of personal meaning. The house is not designed to impress visitors. It is designed to keep him ready for the next 90 minutes. And finally, Riyad Mahrez, whose Saudi property is still under construction, yet already contains 8 bedrooms, an internal private lift, and plans for expanded dressing rooms, redesigned living spaces, and a larger pool. He took an empty shell and turned it into a project. Everything from the layout to the interior design is being built from scratch, customized from nothing to fit a specific vision of how he wants to live. Unfinished, it is already extraordinary, which, in its own way, says everything about what this level of football makes possible. These are not just houses. They are philosophies made physical, wealth-given architecture, and identity transformed into the places where some of the most famous people in the world quietly become themselves. Which one would you want to step inside? Drop it in the comments below. Share this with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe so you never miss what comes next.